On today's bonus Locked On Mavs, exit interviews happened. The Dallas Mavericks came through and we got to talk to them and hear about their season, ask them questions about it, and they had some really fun things to say. So we thought that we would do just a bonus episode talking about how great this team's chemistry was, because there's just some fun things that happened between guys. Players were supposed to come in one-on-one, or like just singular, and they started to come in pairs. I found that so funny because they just wanted to, be together. They wanted to continue to go through this together. And the first one that came through was Tim Hardaway Jr., who was joined by Theo Pinson because they stood on the bench all year together, and then they stood in this in the exit interviews, and they had some thoughts and some things to say about the bench. What was it? The bench decorum. The bench decorum that the Mavericks had. Now, they got fined a couple times during the playoffs because they were standing. They were sometimes closer to the court. Theo Pinson had that moment where he was wearing the white shirt and Steph Curry threw the ball over to him in the corner, and that was made a big deal. He mentions that in this, and he also talks about that may have been intentional.
I hope fans could take some notes. I mean, that's how you get yourself involved in the game. So every time we were standing, we had our crowd standing behind us majority of the game. So, hey, it showed that they were into it as well. So
you're going to take Mark out to drinks? A little night out?
You want to know what's funny about all this? They didn't say nothing when we was losing. When we lost, you never heard anybody complain. And when you start winning, they're like, oh, they're up too much. Yeah. They're getting on our nerves.
Yeah.
I think I would be mad if I got beat by 40, too. So.
That's shot fired. Did you purposely plan your outfits down the stretch to match?
No, game 3 was intentional. Everything else was not intentional.
You want to tell them what you did before?
Oh.
I'm about to get in the car.
We got fined, and when I found out, I called Tim. I said, I hope you got a white shirt tonight. They're wearing white. We're wearing white.
That was the only game that
was
we
the only game we planned it.
That's the only game. But it was just being petty. Yeah, that's
I'm like, come on. When did this become a thing where?
That one was not.
I mean, that happens.
Was blue lettering on my shirt. I'm like, how was that my fault?
I mean, he made the correct pass. The guy was just wasn't spaced correctly.
Steph told me himself that he didn't mean to. He thought it was funny. So
yeah,
it wasn't a big deal.
Love that.
Incredible.
There's so much great stuff in that.
Put his number in the rafters right now.
We had him on the podcast a little while ago, so if you're just joining us or if you're new, you can go listen to that. He talked all about talking with Rudy Gobert and being on the sidelines and what the reason why Theo Pinson stands up on the bench all the time and is screaming and yelling, and he considers that part of his contribution to the team and considers it a real big reason why he's like in the NBA and doing, and helping the team in that way. I found it hilarious that they planned the game 3. Said, hey, you better wear a white shirt.
He's more than a hype man.
Oh, for sure.
This was my favorite quote of Media Day right here. Of the, if I got beat by 40, I'd be upset too. He's obviously talking about the Phoenix Suns because this whole thing happened because of the Phoenix Suns. And, he's right. Like, nobody heard anything about this, as far as like the fines and stuff. You didn't hear it reported anything until they started winning, games 3 and game 4. And then all of a sudden, they get the fine. You see Phoenix. They're like, literally, we're watching it at home in Dallas in the AAC, like after a timeout, whatever, like Booker and them's like over there at the refs pointing at the bench, complaining. That was one of the first moments that I would literally put it all in my head saying, y'all really called the league office over this. Like, you guys, like, they're complaining to the refs right now. So y'all really made this happen. And then obviously reporting came out after the series. It's like, what a crybaby move to complain about the bench, like the bench being hyped. And I just love that quote from Theo of, it wasn't until we started winning, and if I got beat by 40, I'd be upset too.
Because let's do the thing that we can do, because we watched every single Mavericks game this year, because we cover all of them. They didn't just start this in the playoffs; they've been doing this all year. That bench has been standing up every single game all year, ever since they added Theo Pinson. Basically, ever since Theo Pinson got brought in as like a COVID hardship player, they have been doing that. And he has been leading the charge as far as standing up, being on the bench, like cheering on the team. And I honestly think it really helped them, because you saw part of their home court advantage was they could scream out defensive coverages and they could scream out certain things coming. And they have like, Jason Kidd, and then Sean Sweeney, and then Dudley, and then like Tim and Theo, and like all these guys were able to scream stuff at the actual Mavericks on the court that they may not have seen, because it's behind them, behind the play, all kinds of different things. I think it really did bring an advantage. And I also think it did really well for the Mavericks chemistry to just have that, to have those guys, and why we call Theo Pinson more than a hype man, but he is a really good hype man. Like, he hypes guys up. He's the first one out there to high five guys after a really big play and all that. And the chemistry of this team just shined through in this playoff run, but then also you could just see it in the exit interviews. I mean, you saw it in that clip. It was Pinson and Tim Hardaway Jr. just like excited and joking back and forth. By the way, Pinson, great hat.
Yeah, great hat choice. A couple things real quick. This is just a galaxy brain take here, so be prepared. Get ready for this. Intern, turn the camera on. The other team can do it too. Let's just take a pause real quick and just soak that in.
The other team can do it too.
The other bench can do that too. So it's not just, hey, Dallas, has legs and they can stand up. Like, your bench can do it too. So if you're complaining about it, like, and you think it's that big of an issue, like, why don't you stand up? Like, why don't you? If
it's that big of an advantage, right?
Yeah, if it's that big of a deal, like, you stand up and get your bench hyped. But that you might have to, because you don't have team chemistry like that.
Who did it in Game 6 in the Eastern Conference Finals? The Miami Heat. No. The Miami Heat were all up and everything.
Kyle Lowry's over here playing legit defense on Al Horford, like doing jab steps on him as he's taking a three. I'm like, dude, they have to get fined. If we got fined, they have to get fined. I also want to say this real quick about Tim. Tim makes $18 million, and he just fully embraced being a hype man. Like that's not, I don't think that's normal, right? Like, he's obviously upset that he couldn't play. He talked about that in his exit interview about how much it killed him as a competitor. That had to kill him watching this run. He also alluded to that he could have played in the finals, possibly, which is like, oh, dang it. But it's just been really cool to see him embrace that role alongside Theo. Like, there's one thing to see Theo Pinson as a two-way guy saying, man, I want to stay in the league type of thing of like, this is my role. Like, I am such a glue for like chemistry, team, and everything. But also Tim Hardaway to embrace that as an $18 million player.
Yeah.
And, a solid guy in the league that's like, dude, if I can't play on the court, I'm going to play my role on the bench too. And it just speaks to him as a teammate too.
Incredible stuff. And speaking of Theo Pinson, Spencer Dinwiddie sat down to do his exit interview, and guess who walked in right in the middle of his exit interview and caused a scene.
Hey, listen. Come on now, don't be interrupting my whole thing, man. I'm here, bro. I'm here. Hey, man, stop it. Theo, they didn't want to talk to you, bro. They didn't want to talk to you. They want to talk to Tim. Good-looking people only, man. Sorry, go ahead. Again, I can't speak to the foundation for the camaraderie or any of that stuff. I've only been here a couple months. What I have noticed is, DP, Maxey, JB are definitely crucial to that. Tim as well, cheering us on. I mean, he was hurt since I got here. Pretty much everybody but Theo was super crucial to the team camaraderie. You know what I mean? And winning experience, you know what I'm saying? Even Bullock bringing that North Carolina pedigree was super impactful as well.
So that's two different questions that he answered. The second one was about the camaraderie and the chemistry. And he specifically said, everybody but Theo Pinson was a big part of the chemistry. And I don't think everybody knows that Theo Pinson was Spencer Dinwiddie's rook when he was in Brooklyn. So Spencer Dinwiddie was kind of a veteran in Brooklyn. Theo Pinson was a rookie, and like NBA players will take a player under their wing, right? And haze them, but also just like show them the ropes. Do you see I did the wing thing I actually did the wing thing with my arm.
Oh my God.
No. Theo Pinson, Spencer Dinwiddie. And so he's been going after him all year. He had another quote later that I didn't clip that was like, I thought our team was so connected, and honestly, we were the best looking team in the NBA, right? Like everybody but Theo is like, one of the best looking. We're the best looking team. We got some beautiful men on this team. It's like,
Yeah, he starts naming everybody because he said ever since, when he joined the team, the sex appeal, went up for the team, talking about how sexy they are as a team, how good looking they are.
So great. But it just goes back to the chemistry, right? You can hear it in that clip. You can hear the connectedness that this team had, even with Spencer Dinwiddie, who joined in the middle of the year.
Yeah, I mean, what a difference from Washington to Dallas.
Spencer Dinwiddie would agree. All of his quotes all year would agree with that.
Yeah.
Speaking of chemistry, Jalen Brunson had an incredible year, took a step up, and he was asked a bunch of times, what is the reason for your success? And he just kept pointing back to my teammates. My teammates put me in a good position to succeed. And Spencer Dinwiddie mentioned Brunson as a teammate that helped with the chemistry and brought people in, and all that was a big reason for the Mavericks' great chemistry. Brunson has been a leader on teams that have gone to the national championship in college multiple times. Like, he has been a leader like that. And I think he stepped up in this area, and he kept pointing back to his teammates as a reason why he's been succeeding, because they put him in good positions, they help him, all that kind of stuff. He was also asked, how do you not get an inflated ego, like after all the success he had in the playoffs and all that? And this is his answer.
I think the same. I think my teammates, while they gave me confidence, they also kept me humble. I think no matter what the situation was with what I was doing, they always find a way to humble you. And so they made sure I wasn't, getting a big head or anything, and that's gonna be a joke of the century. Yeah, but I mean, they were great. They've been great.
I only wanted to play that clip because he said to get a big head, and then everybody was. Then he immediately realized, I do have a big head, like just physically, like as a person, and that's gonna be a joke of the century. And you know that just guys have been ragging on him all year about that, and I thought that was hilarious.
You need to clip that and post that on socials.
To get a big head.
Ask our intern if they'll post it.
The one that I did post on social, I'm not going to play here, was Dorian Finney-Smith's new nickname for him and Reggie. Go check my Twitter at Nick Van Exit if you want to hear.
Bang Bros?
I was dying today.
I love those guys together, though. They
so great. And this was maybe my favorite quote of the whole exit interviews from players, was when Dorian Finney-Smith and Reggie Bullock were asked, how does it feel to be playing next to a guy like that, where you guys are interconnected and interchangeable in the way that you can defend, in the way that you guys play offense even, and how does that improve your play? And this is what they had to say.
Yeah, especially on the court. When I got somebody like him on the court, and who's loud, communicating, it's easier to get a break on a superstar. Right. Me and him chasing guys around. I'm all the way across the court. I could just tell him to get them, and they still feel that same pressure that I've been doing all game. So we definitely needed it. I'm happy here, but yeah, it's been a great season. Been fun. He don't never complain about shots. All he care about is winning. And I think when you got guys like that, it's contagious.
Who's the better defender?
Shoot, we both feel like we both feel like it's me. Well, I feel like it's me. He should feel like it's him.
Yeah. We both. He can guard a lot bigger players, a lot better than I can. Yeah. I probably can guard.
He could chase.
He
can chase that.
Through screens.
What I love about that is Dorian's voice was the first one that you heard, and then Reggie's was a little bit later, where it was asked, who's the better defender? And Dorian's like, I think it should be me, and he should think it's him, right? Just giving him credit, and then talking about how they're different. Dorian can guard bigs better, and then Reggie almost didn't even say, well, I can guard guards better. Dorian had to come in and say, he can chase. Like, he's good at that. Like, they appreciate each other's strengths, and it was just incredible to watch those two guys. We've said all year that those two guys, Reggie Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith, determined the identity of this Mavericks team so much this season.
Cato had just a perfect follow-up question to that when he asked him who's the better defender, because it kind of caught him off guard. It was so quick, and they immediately got awkward about it. Like, even watching the video of it, well, I am, but he should say that he is too, because they're brothers. So it's like, well, I don't want to they would naturally say, if they're by themselves, like, I feel like I'm the best defender in the league, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But they respect each other so much. And then it was like Bullock as like kind of the dad approach of, well, I mean, he's better at this and I'm probably a little bit better at this. It's just, I love that moment because it was instantly a little awkward for him. But Dorian's probably like, thank God I have somebody else, that can do what I do too. So where it's not just me. We've been saying, I feel like over the past year or so that, Dorian's arguably the second most expendable, least expendable guy, after Luka, because he's like our only perimeter defender basically. And, what a difference it was in that Phoenix series when they switched those two guys and put Bullock on Devin Booker. And it just, So, Dorian's a happy guy that it's not just him anymore.
And the Bullock signed for next year. They don't have to worry about that. And, hopefully they bring in one more guy, right? It'd be incredible to have 3 of those guys to be able to run around and guard like that and to be able to, hit threes the way that those guys did in the playoffs. So there you go.
That was another Dinwiddie dig too at Theo. If you missed on that last one of, when he's like, and Bullock brings that UNC, experience and everything. And, obviously Theo went to UNC too. So he's just calling it out for Bullock but not Theo.
Anything else stand out to you from media day?
Not a ton. Obviously Luka talked at media day and answered his questions. Classic Luka.
He was ready to go, man. It was like he was like a kid on the last day of school.
And rightfully so. And, I think the only thing really from that is just his short off season that, we all know he has some national stuff coming up for Slovenia practices starting here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, he says he got 2 weeks off.
Yeah. So, all of that Eurobasket, Jason Kidd was asked multiple times, it felt like, of, if he's going to be, as far as Luka's shape and is he going to be tired, or can he get his rest? And so, I think that will naturally be tracked this offseason. I think one of the things was, just who's in the room for these conversations of big things that's happening with the team. Even Luka listed off, some guys that, he'll be talking to. He's like, Nico and, Jason and Finn. And, he didn't say Mark. And whether you want to read into that or not, like Mark's always going to be in the room and always going to be, helping make decisions and stuff. But what they've been trying to at least put out there is like, hey, Nico's running the show. Like we want Nico, you do this thing, Nico, Finn, the new front office, this new regime, run the show type of thing. And I thought that was a little bit of something from Luka in that. But Mark got mentioned later on. Nico was talking about the draft, and he's like, Mark and Finn's been working on that.
They've been doing that.
Or no, I think Jason Kidd said that.
Yeah. But Nico was asked a couple times too, is Luka going to be involved in player acquisition or in the offseason plans? And he said he'll be we'll be talking. We'll be talking all offseason. He'll be informed on everything. He'll get his opinion. Nico Harrison values Luka's opinion, said he'll think about things differently than I'll think about it. Then I'll think about things, or that Mark Cuban will think about, or that Jason Kidd will think about. And so this was a thing that he said when he first got brought in about having just, the meeting of the minds together to be able to add to this roster. It's not just Nico Harrison going out there and saying, I know what's right. I'm going to go add the type of players that I want to go out and add, right? He wants it to be a collective, and he's doubled down on that now, because he said that now after his first full year. And I think that's a big thing.
And I thought it was important that Luka confirmed that. And Luka wants to be in it.
Yes.
Because I if you would have, if I had to bet money on it, I would have said Luka's answer to these questions are gonna be like, hey, I'm not the coach or GM. I'm just gonna play basketball, have fun, and love my guys, this type of thing. But his answer to it was, I'm gonna be involved. I'm gonna be talking with them about it. And so I think that is something too, a small takeaway of Luka's involved and he wants to be involved. And he actually will admit that. And it's like, I'm in these conversations and stuff. So I thought that was interesting.
Definitely. There you go. The exit interview should be up on the Dallas Mavericks YouTube probably.
Yeah,
you can probably
all of them are on YouTube. There's only 6 of them. Not everybody talks this exit interview. We've been to a handful of exit interviews in the past, especially before COVID, and it's a super long day. It's like in the past it was like every player, it felt like, would come down the stairs and talk to us, and then there'd be 45 minutes until the next player. So it's 6-7 hours there in the practice gym. But today it was just 6-7 of them. Theo and Tim were together. Reggie and Dorian were together, and then some individual ones and stuff with Kidd, Nico, Luka, Brunson, and those guys. So, but yeah. Good day. I mean, this is the bow on the season. Like, this is you have your last day of the season, no matter for every team, regular season or into the playoff series. Then you have the exit interviews, and now the players kind of do their own thing. They all go to, on vacation.
Break.
Some of them are, we would
come away with us in the summer and go upstate.
Yeah, well, it's like, I feel like a couple players like, hey, I'm going to take, a week or two off, then I'll be back in the gym lifting. Then another guy, I think it was Reggie and Dorian, is like, yeah, I'm not going to do anything until July. And it's like everybody has their different kind of routines and, breaks. And these guys just ran like, I don't know, 1,000,000 miles in the playoffs. So they need breaks. And Reggie talking about fatherhood and how he's like, man, I want to catch up on being a dad. And, he's been gone and stuff. And, being with his kids and stuff over the offseason, that was really cool to hear. So now we kind of just leave these guys alone and let them do their thing. And we'll focus on all the rumors and speculation with the draft and free agency.
No, screw that. Now comes the Instagram watch portion of the offseason, where we're just going to be watching everybody's Instagram stories to see where they're going next. And I'm sure people will be posting that all over the place. But there you go. That's some bonus stuff from exit interviews. We have an episode up right now about the Zach LaVine rumors, about Rudy Gobert, and about what Nico Harrison said at exit interviews. We detail all that in our latest episode, so go check that out if you haven't. Guys, thanks so much for listening to this bonus episode of Locked On Mavs.
So,
boom.